Gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Company of Heroes 2. We are the Gentlemen. I'm TheMachine.
And I'm Archon Hawk.
Speaking of TheMachine, this guy just called Hey GLHF.
Wow.
So this is a little bit different. Because this is going to be sort of an analysis of my replay. Myself playing the auto match against this lovely OKW guy called Succubus Victoria. So Blake hasn't actually seen this replay, and
I haven't been told anything.
I've just kept telling him how cool it is and how awesome we have to do this video, but I haven't actually spoiled anything. So, like, he's going to be doing all the hype and the play-by-play and the keen because he doesn't know what happens, and I'm going to be going over some analysis of sort of what I have been thinking when I'm doing these things, why I'm doing things, and really just a bit more of these explanations.
Sweet, sweet. I'm looking forward to it. This has been hyped up to me for about a week, and we haven't had a chance to actually cast it yet, so as you can imagine, I'm pretty excited. Yeah,
and normally, you know, I do the keen yelling at things.
You do the keen yelling at things. I get to do some keen yelling at things now, which
so
is a nice little change over here. Bit of advanced truck movement coming out from Succubus. He's going to be using that to at least scout out, if nothing else, to have a look at, see what's going on. At least you can kind of find out capping paths and things like that, so you know where your opponent's units are.
And against Soviet, generally you want to do it to scout out what they're going. If they're going tier 1, if they're going tier 2, or if they're going con spam. And the reason why that's important, I think, is because if you're versing a tier 1, you want to get a Raketenwerfer. Because the Kubelwagen's really, really strong against penals and snipers, but the M3 scout car counters it really hard. So if you go Raketenwerfer, then you're good. Against con spam, you generally don't want to go Raketenwerfer because AT grenades are very, very potent. So what my sort of strat when I'm versing both Wehrmacht and OKW is, it's more about denying them territory than it is you capping. So I generally reserve my combat engineers, or as we like to refer to, the captured territory engineers, because they do not combat at all.
No. And
have the conscripts just go for really balls deep aggression. As you can see here, I've actually sent my first squad to the fuel point, get some sandbags to deny his own fuel. And he has capped this one as a result, but it's really easy to take that one back later on, where if I already have sandbags, and if I'm camping on here, then he can't really take that back.
Definitely makes life a little bit harder. So you can, of course, peel con squads back, and the new ones you build are going to be a lot closer here. Kubelwagen going to be coming out, though. Nice work from Succubus, but does run straight into a con squad, so you can get some suppression going down here.
Walking straight into the garrison. So a good way of dealing with Kubelwagens is just getting garrisons, because they can't suppress you. And the thing with Kubels is they do actually pretty abysmal damage. They're only good because of their suppression, and likewise, they're pretty vulnerable to small arms. They die really fast. So if you're able to get in garrisons, or even just behind heavy cover, you can usually just out-trade them. It will give him a fair bit of territory control, but as you can see, I immediately went for my AT grenades. And this is always a great spot. I just love seeing Kubels when I go con spam, which is what I always do with Soviets, because it's just so easy to counter the Kubel. You Ura up to it, throw an AT grenade, and basically it just dies.
Especially if you've already damaged it with small arms, it can be very, very easy to take out. And, I mean, it's nice having the AT grenades anyway, and you're going to want them with that many conscript squads, so definitely working out well thus far. And I do believe your AT grenades are done.
They're done. Ready to go. And that's why I'm going for this worldwide exclusive flank. Like, I want to just surround the Kubel, because you can't Ura up to it, because the Kubel will reverse faster. Doesn't actually expect it, though. I just get the free AT grenade. Didn't really, I didn't think he anticipated it. So he gets caught, and the small arms will be able to finish that one off, no problems.
Ends up going down now. It's a pretty big blow. It's a fair bit of an investment going for that Kubelwagen. Means you're going to have less infantry on the field. Cons are going to be trading pretty effectively with these Volts at this point in the game, which is definitely going to be working in the machine's favour. Sturm Pioneers are another matter, though. That makes life a little bit tougher.
Yeah, they're pretty strong against conscripts. And that cutoff has been taken, so far he's looking pretty strong. This is a really nice spot, though, because this heavy cover counters that garrison hard, because I think there's like 1 or 2 windows. There's not many windows that can actually engage on this spot efficiently. So I'm just trying to constantly get these cutoffs and deny the income. So far he actually has a fair bit of it, though, which is generally a hard spot to be in as the allies. When you're playing against really both Wehrmacht and OKW, you kind of have to strangle the income. Because of just the stronger mid-game, the stronger late game, you really have to prevent them from really getting that income, taking up and getting those powerful tanks.
Succubus definitely has been playing it quite well. He was coming up the right, saw the fuel was already taken, and immediately goes for the cutoff, secures it. That's pretty major. I think now the machine's going to have to push back off that, and does end up securing his own fuel as well. Going to be going for that, the machine capping his own fuel. at the moment. So it's going to be fuel for fuel at this point. Still 4 con squads on the field. Are you going for Molotovs? Have you gone for them?
Not yet.
Not yet. Don't have the manpower for it. Having to go medics.
I think, no, it's more for the munitions. Like, there's no point in having munis if you have such little
that's true.
munitions. Because I went the AT grenades and I used them and
yeah.
I had my munitions cut off, there really isn't much point getting them just yet. Not until I get those munitions back up and running.
So Japan is going to be closing on these conscripts now. Boss coming in as well. Conscripts do get the Ura away. Walking away from that one. On the nice side of heavy cover, they're gonna end up having to retreat there. The Strums will finally be forced off, though.
Took a bit more damage than I sort of wanted to. I thought if I could get behind the heavy cover, I can still trade efficiently. So it was nice that Succubus, he didn't try and take the heavy cover. He saw the sandbags and it was like, bro, you can have that fuel. If he tried to sort of sacrifice into it, he would have just lost far too much than is required. So really, I don't have a lot of map control, at least not as much as I would like, but I got the Kubel. And I kind of threw away a lot of map control and a lot of manpower doing so, which I think was worth it in the end to get that Kubel. Whereas, if there wasn't Kubel, I would have just focused more on the territory itself. But you can't really do that against a Kubel because Kubel just forces you off the map so consistently.
We'll catch out those individual squads and lock them down. And fortifications is going to be the lock-in here, am I correct? Yes.
Yep, fortifications.
Succubus here, so he's going to have those MG34s out on the field. And the first one has, of course, been built.
Yeah, very, very potent on Famenville approach. Just because of how effective this garrison is and how you can pretty much lock down the map with 3 MGs. There's sort of this high value spot here, fuel VP, VP cutoff. So it's like the trimester the Triforce of MGs can be very, very strong on a map like this.
It's going to be engaging with some bolts here that of course have that first Shrek upgrade available. Going to be going for that one quite early. It does limit Succubus's access to grenades. Fair bit of a munitions investment there.
Yeah, it might have been expecting M3s. They are pretty common on this matchup. Yeah. Because of the lack of Panzerfaust, it does make them quite strong.
Force off on the side there, the heavy cover still definitely going to pay off on the side. Capping point engineers actually dropping a model there from the looks of things. It may actually help
there's a Molotov.
With that engagement. There's the Molotovs. Molotovs are going to be coming out now. And that really is a turning point for this matchup. It's a lot harder for those Strum Pioneers to come in close, and it's easier for the conscripts to actually run in and engage with those Volsks. Definitely forcing them out of cover if nothing else.
Molotovs are just so strong because even if you don't actually land them and they're perfectly dodged, you're still forcing your opponent out of cover. And not only out of cover, that's the sandbag, that is the strength. Sandbags are very, very important for Volsk Grenadiers. It also means that since the enemy squad is moving around, they have less fire on the move accuracy, and they're often not firing if they're facing the wrong direction. So Molotovs are just very, very strong, regardless if you have to connect them. So that's 2 Shreks.
Yeah, 2 Shreks already out in the field here. Pretty early for those. Couple engineers will be forced off here. 3 Volks. Get moving together. Well, a couple of Volks with the support of that MG. It's a nice way of doing it. You really do want those Volks for the scout on the MG.
Yeah.
Probably end up getting the suppression if you can see around that building.
And Shreks are even strong against infantry, just the way that they can deny cover. Because the Shrek will detonate the cover, and then, you know, you're obviously fighting out in the open. So what I'm trying to do here is I see that he has the 2 squads and an MG. You can't engage that. So instead, go for the cutoff. Gets caught by the AT grenade, though. That's the issue of when you do go very, very deep with your trucks for the pushing.
Constable is going to get suppressed there by the second MG. That's going to be nice. Con's actually going to be following that up. You have to remember that these trucks do get damaged by small arms, and because of the high respawn timers, you do not want to lose them, and that looks like what's going to happen here. Succubus is taking a lot of damage here. Can the Strum Pioneers push them off in time? I don't think it's going to be able to. We may see the truck going down. Yes, we do. That's a huge blow for Succubus because all he's got is his battle group headquarters at this point. So
yeah, and denying that second truck is so important for the matchup because without the second, the Sphero battle group, no, the Panzer headquarters, the flak emplacement, the tier 4, it means no Obersoldat and no Panzer 2, and that just gives the Soviet a world of freedom. Shocks are coming out now.
Shock, rifle frontline tactics, machine gun going for one of the favourites. Going to have those IS-2s available. Shocks as well. Pretty strong choice here and going to be nice against the Strum Pioneers. And added to the fact that, you know, now you've already delayed the truck here, there's not really going to be any really hard-hitting long-range infantry with those LMGs, like those Obers going to be coming out, so the shocks are going to be even more effective.
Yeah.
You know, with 4 Volsk, 1 Sturm Pioneer, and 3 MG42s coming out here on the side of Succubus, he's really committed to these this early infantry play.
And the options are limited. Without the Panzer headquarters, I mean, really that's all he can do. He can go for also the infantry support gun, which is, it's okay on Faymanville, not the best map for it though. But so you're forced in an unideal unit composition, not going to be having any Obersoldaten or any of that good stuff.
Trucks will be closing in here. Do get a nice range, going to stay out of those SMGs, and we'll force the Volks off from this one. It's nice that the machine has actually gained map control back. It does make it life a lot harder for those MG34s to actually push their way back out again if they have lost their position. They don't really cover each other as well as they did previously.
Yeah, but still getting very, very annoying suppressions. So basically my mentality going into these games, the 3 commanders that I run, Advanced Warfare, Lend-Lease, and the Shock Rifle front line. So I'll just go over those commanders if people don't know the names.
Shots just duke the MG arc there. Good job from the machine. Same time, the boss can be closing on that garrison from the heavy cover. It's a nice direction to be doing that. We'll force the conscript squads off, and the MG gets forced off at the same time there.
Not an ideal retreat pathway by any means. Lend-Lease is the Dushka and the Shermans. Advanced Warfare is the PPSH and the T-34 single call-in. And Shock Rifle frontline is the Shock IS-2. Generally the favourite.
He likes going for the MG, going to be going for the garrison here. Should be able to close that one. Shock's probably going for the decap and lands the nade, in fact, as well. So the machine really wants this one. Unlucky with it, though. Doesn't actually drop a model.
Yeah, so basically, if you're able to throw the grenade as they're entering it, you can't actually dodge it.
Yeah.
What do I mean that? Because, like, the time it takes them to get into the garrison, there's a delay until you can evacuate. If you just throw a grenade normally, like, a good player will just dodge it. But if you throw it whilst they're running into it, then they can't really dodge it in time. And I think the reason why the nade didn't do much damage is because they just got in the garrison. They hadn't actually set up properly, because where the grenade goes in will actually affect it.
In the right position, makes life harder. Conscript's going to be finding this Vol squad. Doesn't look like there's going to be a retreat coming out from Succubus. You got to retreat those squads. That's a Vet 2 with a Panzer G. We like to refer to this as the GG. When your conscript squads get those Panzer Shreks, you have infantry-based AT.
Yeah, when Soviets actually have infantry-based AT. Wow, it's nice, isn't it?
Definitely is.
Yeah, those Vet 2 squads as well, giving it more accuracy. It's ideal to have it on shocks, because then you have armor and smoke grenades and whatnot, but it can be nice to have URA and AT grenades
as well
on the same squad. Like, when you get guards with a Shrek, you can button while shrekking. That is great. I love that so much. So this is the strength of heavy cover as well, is if you have ideal heavy cover, MGs don't suppress properly. You often will see, like, units get suppressed behind heavy cover if it's like bad heavy cover, like this well here. Like in that heavy cover, there's like 2 or 3 models out of a 6-man squad
that are actually behind heavy cover.
So not everyone is actually properly behind heavy cover, so therefore they don't take the full reduced damage, they don't take the full reduced suppression, so they do get suppressed. Where if it's like sandbags or a brick wall, like say, like this wall here, and everyone is actually behind heavy cover, the MGs just don't suppress.
Yeah.
Especially MG34s that don't have as good suppression as the regular MG42s of the Wehrmacht. So this is nice. He's getting his Panzer headquarters, and he's got a lot of scouting and protection. You never want to have your Panzer headquarters, or really any building, as OKW going down blind, because they die so fast if they are attacked while being deployed. But here he has a world of vision and a world of defense, so that's nice to see that.
Nice pop for putting that one down. Conscripts do actually duke the MG arc once again. Nice flanking machine. Going to be forcing that one off at least. And do you get your heavy cover back? Of course you do.
Well, I do, but there's also a Panzer headquarters
there. That's not a good idea.
And yeah, Fog of War. Yep.
Yeah, covering the BP as well as the fuel, and now that heavy cover is going to be completely denied there. Conscripts are going to have to be forced off from here. Already having an AT gun out though as well, as that Shrek is going to be nice, and having a light mortar there as well, just for dealing with the garrisons, I suppose.
This garrison.
That garrison in the middle.
It's a good garrison, and this is a really good spot to be in because his Panzer headquarters will cover his fuel and this VP, so it's really nice. And then because there's the Panzer headquarters, it means that you can't flank MGs. That's like the real annoying thing about Panzer headquarters, is it just denies 1/3 of the map, and you need that third of the map to flank MGs and really just outmaneuver your opponent. So with the Panzer headquarters down, there goes double Obersoldaten. And yeah, I haven't quite had a chance to rant as much as I would have liked.
Gonna have the Is that your Insignia coming in?
Yeah.
Yes, it is indeed. Going to be forcing off that MG. Can definitely be nice. Quite punishing. You do generally drop a couple of models, even if the retreat is nice. And a Molotov as well. There's just, you love the flame, don't you, Machine? So,
yeah, and you got to look at the reinforce cost as well. Is Stormpire is not cheap to reinforce, and cons they kind of are. So even if you drop 1 for 3 models, often it does work out. So yeah, when you deny the Obersoldaten from the Panzer headquarters, it means that you can play con heavy. Because the moment Obersoldaten show up, you can't use conscripts in engagements. Like, you have to just avoid Obersoldaten. Really what Obersoldaten, what their presence does is it forces the tier 1 tech. In my opinion, the only way you can deal with Obersoldaten is snipers or vehicles. But if there's Shreks, then vehicles, at least, you know, mid-game, medium vehicles don't really work by any means.
See the mortar team could be forced up here. Volts do get in fairly close. Do have the AT gun moving up in the stealth mode as well.
Yeah.
Sneaking up into the spare Panzer headquarters as well. It's going to be nice. Overs have hit the field though, and that means life is going to be very, very tough for the machine from this point onwards, especially with those shocks. It's hard for even them to close on.
Shocks can kind of work, but the thing that absolutely melts the Shock's fate, I mean, even look at that, long range they just destroy.
Yeah.
But those, I'm not even going to try and say that grenade, this death smoke grenade, Blend Corpo or something, like, it does damage and it slows the movement. So you just throw that, like, in the middle of the ground, and Shocks, they can't advance you. And if they can't advance you, then they're going to just bleed manpower. Yeah. The mortar, getting a nice lucky shot, though, will force it away. So, yeah, you can't engage Obersoldaten with infantry at all. You have to go snipers. And, you know, all vehicles, but if you're versing against Shreks, then you can't do that either. So, at the moment here, we do have the mortar firing away. I think I fired a bit on the Panzer headquarters with some conscripts.
You did, yeah. It had already taken some damage.
Yeah, so it's so nice to do that, is if you see it unpacking, just shoot it. Even if you won't necessarily kill it, it'll force the repairs. And so what I'm doing here is I actually had to get my cons to attack ground the wall so my Zis could move up and start sieging away. Don't have vision though, so I will have to attack ground, which is clumsy, misses a lot, but it's, hey, better than nothing. Whilst the mortar will start to barrage. Because if I had to walk the Zis in, it would have had to derp around here. And then that means if I get collapsed upon, which I inevitably will do, the Zis will just die. I can't have it move up. But now I can safely back away.
Shock grenade going to be going in. Overs do dodge that one though. MG34 is going to get the suppression down on these Shocks as well. Con's going to be moving up, at least trying to just gun down the MG through sheer force of numbers, which can definitely happen there. That wasn't the gunner that dropped. MG's firing. It's going to retreat now. Overs actually closing the gap here. That's dangerous against the Shocks, but really wanting to kill that Zis. It's doing so much damage to the spare Panzer headquarters.
I stealthed the Zis so it wouldn't be fired by the Obers, and then I merged and continue to fire.
Not going to be stopping at any rate, Machine. Volsnade is going to be going in though. That's going to do some pretty serious damage. Ooh, only one model there. I think you walk away fairly well.
Yeah, this really is a turning point for the game here, because if the Panzer headquarters doesn't get taken out, then Obersoldaten will win the game. If the Panzer headquarters is taken out, then really there's a lot of free reign. And also the Panzer II has a lot of just impact, because if you don't have like a medium tank and you don't have mines, the Panzer II can just get squad wipes.
Merging is just so important here, and that's one of the nice things about having that many conscript squads. It's hard to lose support weapons if your merging is on point.
Yeah, sure is indeed, and now the conscripts is going to start firing and forcing the MG away. Couldn't quite get the Zis due to that stealth. Because notice when I stealth, I stop attacking, because if I attack, it would have revealed it. So holding onto that Zis is key. But Succubus doesn't want to lose his Panzer headquarters. He's fighting for it desperately. 2 squads of Obers, 2 MGs, and a Vet 2 Volts Grenadier squad.
It's about time that Zis actually backed off, and that's exactly what it's doing. Me moving back there. Did probably pick up a little bit of efficiency. Does force off the mortar as well. And of course, Trumpine is repairing absolutely ridiculously fast.
Yeah.
It's hard to siege when Trumpines are going to be repairing.
That's true, but at the same time, you can get like lucky mortar wipes.
Yeah.
Because when they're repairing, the mortar can hit them and just kill them, and the mortar was firing for a fair bit. So that engagement, it wasn't really that cost efficient for really either of us. But I think what the main thing that it actually did there for me is it gave me a crazy amount of command points. Especially one advantage, well, when you go that con heavy, there's a lot of engagements, you get a lot of command points. And in this game, I didn't go for the teching. I do love teching, having that tier 7 and the tier 34 in the mid game to really put the pressure on. But I wasn't ahead enough in field. If you're 50-50 in map control, if you're even to your opponent, you can't tech as Soviets. Because T-34s or even Su-85s, they just don't scale into the late game. Because when Panthers show up, when Volksgrenadiers getting veterancy on their Shreks, your tanks just don't do anything. Whereas if you get them early, then you can get them before there's any of those tanks, the Panthers. You can get them before the Volksgrenadiers have the veterancy, and then you can just engage quite efficiently. So there was no point for me teching, so I just went for the IS-2. And it's a pretty early IS-2, again, because of how engage heavy this game has been, especially with that previous engagement. So having that quite early is going to be nice. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to send the IS-2 down the bottom with the Zisgun for support. And this is probably my favorite way of getting the Panzer headquarters, is having a tank for the scout. But here come a lot of Obersoldaten.
Yeah, the Obers are going to be closing in from the back. The Shocks move to cut them off, and that's going to be perfect. The Obers are going to have to stop, trying to gun down as many Shocks as possible. Nate's going to be going in. Does he end up getting dodged with the back squad, though? IS-2 still will be firing there, and the conscripts come in as well. The Obers don't want to be that close. They'll get shredded. We've got the Schwer Panzer headquarters on about half health now. The machine really striking in. There's a squad wipe. The IS-2's liking this. It's going well. Those Sturms are trying to repair it up, but against the Zisgun and the IS-2, they've got no hope.
The Panther is building. Will the Panther finish in time, or will that Panzer headquarters be demolished?
The Panther is so close to being completed here. The machine's got to focus down this Schwer Panzer headquarters. It's really close. The Panther's coming up. I think it's going to finish in time. The Panther's going to finish. Oh, it finishes.
And there it goes. And not a moment later, the Panzer headquarters will drop. This would have been game over. If the Panther did not come out, the IS-2 would have won the game.
Yeah.
Like, there isn't really any way to contest the IS-2 with only a single Volt squad. But now with the Panther, it's back on even terms. I actually, like, thought that I didn't get the Panther out in time. I was like, yes, I won this game. GG. Yeah. Panzer headquarters down. I had the IS-2. You know, I got, like, Vet 3 cons for days with a Shrek, Vet 2 shocks. I'm in a good spot. I've got a mortar as well, getting those decaps. He has the Obersoldaten, but like the IS-2 is going to be a good counter to that. And yeah, denying those Volt squads is very important, because when you get to the late game, when the Volks have the Vet 5, they just don't die. The received accuracy that they get 3 times.
It's ridiculous.
Vet 1.
Yeah.
I think it's Vet 3 as well.
Yeah, and then Vet 5.
Yep, Vet 3, and then also Vet 5. They get 3 received accuracy modifiers. Nothing hits them, and...
Yeah, IS-2's just miss for days.
Yeah,
you're better
everything
off driving up
days.
and shooting at them with the Dush gun than you are firing at them with the IS-2's main gun.
Because you just don't hit them.
We've actually labbed this, and we're not even lying. That's actually the truth.
Yeah. And so... what their Panzer headquarters deny will also do is, again, it will deny Obers. So if I can wipe the Obers, he can't replenish them. So I haven't gone for snipers. Normally I would in the matchup if I'm versing Obers. But given how much veterancy there is, given the IS-2, I don't think the sniper was exactly necessary. And as I was sort of mentioning earlier, what's really nice to do is, because you need to have vision for the Zis guns. Otherwise you can't really consistently attack the Panzer headquarters. You just miss. When you attack ground, it's quite inaccurate, as you saw in that previous little skirmish. That was a... precision barrage. You can tell because it has like a bigger radius.
Yeah.
It looks like a heavy mortar.
The enemy has 300 points remaining.
300 VPs now for Succubus. The machine, he's floating okay on 390 here. The Panther's going to be showing itself though, moving forward after taking a Shrek shot. If we go for the IS-2 here, let's get the penetration. We'll have a little fight off here. The war is real.
Yeah. So Zis also on the flank trying to fire, but it won't hit. It was stealth. Crew shocked.
Crew shocked. Just out of range of the Zis though, so it's going to be only the IS-2 following this one up.
But he has the Shrek for support.
IS-2 can stop to the side there. We'll actually just back away, get the repairs. Machine already on 2 combat engineer squads. We do recommend at least having a couple of those.
Yeah, generally you want to have 3. The IS-2s, they have a pretty long repair time.
Got a lot of health.
Yeah, especially when you're versing Sturm Pioneers, that repair so fast. He doesn't actually have the upgrade though. You should get the upgrade because the Minesweeper does give you improved repair time even when you don't have the Minesweeper selected. And so the Sturm Pioneer, it basically repairs like 3 times as fast as a Command Engineer squad, so you need to really match that in repairs, which is a bit frustrating.
Conscripts closing in here. Yeah, it is. Conscripts will be closing in here as well as the Shocks here. Bolts off to the side there. Obers are going to be shooting that one out, but the Shocks do close on them. Panther can't really contribute to this matchup that much at the moment. Let's be careful of the IS-2. Conscripts have that middle garrison as well, which is quite important. Shocks down to 4 members, no. They're getting quite low, and the machine's giving those bolts from free veterancy. Always a dangerous move. In the middle, they're on to about Vet 4 now. They really are starting to bet up.
Yeah, that's scary. They get a lot of accuracy of Vet 4, so they basically just don't miss with their Shreks. MG in the garrison, fighting away at those conscripts behind heavy cover, so they won't take a lot of damage.
Conscripts closing with his Obers. This is a pretty dangerous engagement. Here comes the nade, though. He's dodged. Kudos to the machine and should be able to take out these.
The juking! The circle strafing, yeah.
The circle strafe that LMG.
If you move around in circles, the Obersoldaten can't aim their LMG-34 in time. So it's a nice little micro technique. I made a video on it, Circle Strafe Obersoldaten. No, Scumbag Penal it was called, yeah. When you sort of like, you juke around the MG, it's pretty funny. So basically, here, this is engagement I want to have, and the reason why is the IS-2s, they have consistent penetration, whereas the Panthers don't consistently penetrate the IS-2's frontal armor, except in this case, where it penetrates every single shot.
Time.
Yeah, so like generally you want to fight to get the veterancy, because you got to remember, when you don't actually penetrate, when the shell bounces, you don't actually get a lot of veterancy, because veterancy is done off of damage dealt. So if you're always penetrating, you're getting a lot more vet, whereas if your opponent doesn't penetrate, it doesn't really matter. So like, I actually want to engage the IS-2 with a Panther because the IS-2, at least as far as I'm aware, does have a better, more consistent penetration, which gives you the more veterancy. So it's nice to have. That being said, the Vet 1 is better for a Panther because of Blitzkrieg as opposed to Capture Point. But Veterancy 2 is really nice for the IS-2. The sight, so the targeting range and the accuracy. So it's nice against infantry, and the range really helps in those tank engagements.
A lot of things that do help out. Succubus at the moment, he's being forced back a little bit here. His infantry can only hold so much of the map, and wow, those conscripts got shredded.
Yep, that's because of the Vet 2. It gives them like 40% increased accuracy. The MGs are just crazy. And that's what I mean is, Obers just dictate this matchup. Like, Obersoldaten just kill everything, which is why you have to engage with either snipers or vehicles, because you're just losing manpower if you try and engage with anything else, really. I mean, shocks, yeah, if you can get a nice flank. That being said, the wing it up close, if you're able to sort of ambush the Obersoldaten, Molotovs are very, very powerful. Because the Molotovs, as I sort of mentioned earlier, they will prevent the squad from firing. They have to move around, they have to dodge, they can't fire, and so you're sort of wasting their time, which is then pretty potent against the Obers because of the pre-fire delay the MG-34s have, despite being able to fire on the move with insane accuracy at Vet 2.
Another fight going on here. The Mortars can be forced off as well as those conscripts, taking a little bit too much damage there. Nice work, holding onto at least the territory that he does have. Succubus would be nice if we can get another VP up though. He's down to about 200 there. IS-2 looking for a few more engages, looking for a bit more damage.
Stealth is yes, ready and
ready
waiting.
to go.
That's the plan. I mean, you want to have the Zist for support, especially if you're versing the Shreks, otherwise you're not going to really be doing much. Yeah, so the Panthers actually having really good penetration.
Yeah, they've been training extremely consistently. There's another one.
Yep.
IS-2 doesn't misses.
And here comes the second IS-2.
I was about to say, you got enough fuel for it. Are you going for it? The hell you are. Yeah, double IS-2 now coming out with the machine. That's going to be absolutely brilliant.
Obers are instantly shredding down those Zist guns. Bit of a shame losing the veterancy. It's pretty important to have the veterancy on those Zist guns. And really, in this stage, like, there's no other fuel investments to go for a Soviets. Everything that you have access to, apart from Katyushas, is just kind of pointless. Like, T-34s don't work late game. S-35s lose to Panthers despite being dedicated tank destroyer with no anti-infantry capabilities. SU-76s aren't very good. T-70s, they're actually not bad against, like, just for having the Obersoldaten denies, because they're very, very powerful against infantry.
Jushka's having a really nice time against that MG. Oh,
yeah.
Doesn't quite get the white.
Also, the sight range is really nice to have on the T-70s, because then it gives your Zist guns a lot of sight range, so you can use their full range, especially if you're trying to snipe down Panzer headquarters. Pack 43, he's ready to party.
Oh,
Look
wow.
at the veterancy, almost Vet 1, from a single hit against the IS-2. So, T-70s are nice to have, but it isn't worth ticking for. And so really at this stage it's just going to be IS-2 spam. Like, honestly, what else is there worth going for?
Yeah, I mean, now having access to that Pack 43 is going to be pretty huge for Succubus, getting that available, getting the manpower ready. That's why he was being so passive in the last few minutes. He's waiting for that one to get back up, and it's definitely going to help him in terms of zone control against those IS-2s.
Yeah. Whereas the OKW has a fair few options. They can go King Tiger, they can just keep going Panthers, they can go Stuka, so there's a lot of options and you don't really know what to sort of do. MG going to be shredding down at these cons, but splitting them up, and again, the MG-34s don't have very good damage. They even had the incendiary ammo, which doesn't do a lot, whereas the Wehrmacht MG-42, you pop that ability and things die.
Oh yeah.
To be fair, the Vet 3 gives the cons less received accuracy, so they are a little bit more survivable, but yeah, that goes to show, once again, MG-34 is just not as good as your regular MG-42s. Still very potent nonetheless, given their cost. and their synergy with the other cadet. There is the Crushers, but in doing so, there's the rear armor. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks a lot for that. Yeah, conscripts are going to penetrate that rear armor pretty consistently, as is the IS-2. He's here to party. He's ready to go. The other one I think will be moving in fairly soon, but this is still on half health. It's another penetration though. It's starting to get a little bit more veterancy as well. Yeah,
Vet 2 is a huge deal for the Panthers. Gives them the extra armor, making it quite hard to penetrate.
Out of range,
but not for this IS-2.
Yeah.
Since the Panther got extra accuracy or extra armor, the IS-2 decided to penetrate every time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And
Nice
even
the IS-2.
increased tracking. And this is it. Your IS-2 won't hit these bolts. You will not kill those.
not
But
gonna
the
hit them.
mortar will, apparently. This
Yeah.
mortar's been absolutely a huge asset. Veterancy 3, hitting Obersoldaten, gives you a lot of veterancy as well. And the Vet 2 is great for the increased accuracy and rate of fire. And the Vet 3 give you the extra range, which is so important against the Pak-43.
Oh yeah, it's going to be absolutely huge.
Because with the Vet 3, you have the range that you can pretty safely just constantly harass down the Pak-43. It's going to be within a range of the IS-2, but it will have to reface it. Bear in mind, it can fire through all of these garrisons if it actually has the target acquired.
Yeah, it's going to be turning around now.
Yeah, there we go.
Backing away. Here comes
Look at the
Pak-43
veterancy.
though. Veterancy.
Oh,
Doesn't
yeah.
penetrate.
Yeah.
Ouch. That's the first time I've seen a Pak-43 not penetrate something.
Heavy cover, regardless, still very, very potent.
Definitely is. Volsnade going to be going in. Oh, the flavor crit though kills the nade. The nade guy actually died to that one there. Allowed the conscripts a little bit more time to dodge away. Still more fights up the top here again. Can't trade efficiently with those Volsts. Molotovs make things tough. See the nade dodging on both sides here has been really on point. Everyone's dodging their nades, which is nice to see.
Yeah, see what I mean? Like the Obers, if they're up close,
they
they
get caught by
die.
the
And if you're versing high vet Obers, they're so crazy. They have permasprint, they have suppression with their regular shots. Yeah, late game Obersoldaten. It's crazy. That's why you need snipers.
Yeah.
Snipers ignore veterancy, so you know.
Yeah, so the mortar's actually firing pretty nicely onto the Pak-43 now. And of course, you do have that precision if you want it when it's available.
not really
so
worth it.
yeah,
I mean,
not really worth it. You don't think?
Well, but it's because of the Vet 2.
Investment?
The Vet
Yeah.
2 gives it so much accuracy,
It's not really
and
necessary.
given how large the Pak-43 is,
Yeah.
like you don't really miss that much. Precision barrage is very nice for sniping like a unit or a squad. Yeah, like a support weapon because you need that down accuracy. But with the Pak-43, like it's large and it's just going to consistently hit it. And the munitions, I don't really want to waste it. Not when I have incendiaries, Molotovs, mines,
Lot of stuff
shock
you
nades.
do.
It's kind of a waste of munitions in this case. That's a good mine spot there. That's a great mine spot. But here comes the Panther. Is this firing as well?
Should we force it off? Well, I was looking for that mortar. We're going to try and stop that one firing.
Yeah. So you got to be careful. You got to just avoid the Pak-43 firing up. If you can have an IS-2 at the bottom, at the middle. I mean, really the best way of versing the Pak-43 is just to not engage near it. You can click on it, gets the cap, but dies instantly.
Yeah, as you'd expect.
Yeah, you can get you click on the Pak-43, it says the range, you just avoid the range. It's kind of the best way. Panther at the bottom and a Jagdpanzer 4. Not a Jagdtiger.
Yeah, I was looking for like Jagdpanzer. The Panther actually does get the rear armor there and it gets the block off as well. Jagdpanzer 4 going to be doing a lot of consistent damage here. Really need that front armor on the IS-2. The machine has been caught out quite hard here. That's a rear armor hit. That IS-2 is going to be going down just for the hit Infantry 2 as well.
Yeah.
Machine gets caught
Now
out.
that was a really nice play with a block. He blocked me, but I wasn't watching. I was microing up here. So by the time I saw it, I couldn't get out of there. And I didn't have a chance of backing away. I thought I could just try and juke forward.
Yeah.
Gets the Pak-43. And because all these tanks were bottom, I was like, yep, I'm going to take this Pak-43. Because your tank to the bottom, it gets the cap. And now I have a pretty good spot to be in. But still, it's pretty close to his base.
That's going to be a pretty big trade-off here, but yeah, quite close to the base, so it is going to be a little bit more difficult to hold. Was nice micro down the bottom there from Succubus. Have to get that Panther in behind the IS-2 and stop it from backing away, especially when it's on a road. It makes it very hard to chase, and once that IS-2 gets front army, you're just not going to penetrate that much.
Yeah, and it was just a nice play overall. A big loss for me, not only having one IS-2. Because now I can't really engage that Panther well, I kind of need two. I'm going for demo trap, so if he takes it back, I can just blow it up, but I'm not going to be able to plant that during combat. There's the Panther moving in. Pak-43 has been decrued. This setting up once again. Pak-43 being recruited. Incendiary Blast should prevent the Obers from firing. Pak-43 takes a shot onto the Panther, and so does the IS-2. Ziskan, it's still ready and waiting. And the Jagdpanzer 4, easy disengage. IS-2 doesn't penetrate, so the Panther will back away from this one.
Again, there's another squad wipe there. One of the conscript squads did go down. Drop the Shrek as well. Don't want to be dropping that one. This is still firing onto that Jagdpanzer 4 though, and it hasn't been backing away this entire time. Looks like the pack may be recaptured here, but the shocks are closing the distance here. Wow, main gun destroyed. Unfortunate crit there, Machine. Several squads going to be wiped, and that's another Shrek on the ground. Yep. There's 2 Shreks on the ground, Machine.
No, I lost the
you lost the other
squad.
one, did you? Yeah.
But sniping the Vet 5 Volk squad is so important, because then it gives you more free reign. Another IS-2 coming in, and I did also get the Ober squad with a nade, I think.
Yeah. So you lost that other IS-2 though, didn't you, to the Jagdpanzer?
Yeah, they both died. The IS-2s both died, but I killed a lot of infantry. And yeah, the infantry deny is so important in the late game, because the Vet 5 Obers died, the Vet 5 Shrek died, and that's basically more important. But now, it was pretty greedy going for the Pack 43. That's why I wanted the demo, so I could just kill it. We're gonna have to snipe that one now.
And Cindy really was chunking.
Yeah,
so it does get chunked here, and this is going to be setting up as well. This may be enough to force off the Panther, which is Vet 3. That is scary and a half here. Pindel's going to be nice against the Sis. It does actually duke the arc here. Panther's going to be going deep. How deep will it go?
Yeah, let's see. Extra rate of fire and mobility makes those Panthers so strong. Obers instantly wiped down that Zis gun, still clashing heads with the IS-2.
Another shot here. Panther's backing off to a little bit longer range, trying to get the better penetration here. What we're going to though, the IS-2 does try to acquire up those Oversoul Dart. Has to back off from this one, and the Light Mortar's going to retreat as well. Pack 43 destroyed though, and a lot of the vetted Panzer Grenadier squads were also taken out, and that's a Volks Grenadier squads of course, and that's a huge deal.
The Panthers going in deep, wants to take out this IS-2, would be deadly, gets a nice
shots.
cruise shock, Uraring in for the AT grenades, and the Shreks firing from that shock squad. IS-2 is so close, another lucky shot. This, no, what fire? That was the Panther of course. Veteran C4 for the Panther, and they're both getting so low, but nothing's penetrating. This could well decide the game. Who loses their tank? Main gun destroyed. Doesn't penetrate.
No, it doesn't penetrate with a Shrek though, so the Panther survives.
Yeah. Veteran
C4 now. That's scary.
The RNG gods took mercy upon myself, trading the main gun destroyed on the Jagdpanzer 4 for the main gun destroyed crit on the IS-2. Hard one to be in. I'm versing a Vet 4 Panther, a Vet 1 Jagdpanzer 4, and, you know, a late game OKW. He wants to get the IS-2.
Yeah, he does indeed.
He wants to take that IS-2 down, because again, without that, the Panther will have free range. Duking behind the HQ though.
And with main gun destroyed, they can't fire back
It can't
again.
fire through that garrison though. Rear armor, AT grenade gets the penetration. Jagdpanzer 4s don't really have much armor, so the Shreks will penetrate pretty consistently against that frontal armor of that Jagdpanzer 4.
Chasing this one down, they're going to keep going after it, and they're going to be able to catch it as well. That engine is not going well for the Jagdpanzer 4. Doesn't stay on the road as well. It might have been able to get away. Shock's taking another Shrek.
The cons are waiting around for the extra AT grenade. It's available now, going for it, but the Ober's doing a lot of damage.
Does actually penetrate there, but it's consistent damage. The Shocks gonna fire again, but the Obers might force the Shocks off. That's Vet 4 Ober Soldat, and the Shocks, they're gonna get suppressed. Here can the Shrek squad. The Shrek.
Nope. Suppression will prevent that.
Suppression does prevent that.
The Obers suppress at Vet 4. I mean, come on. Do Obers need suppression?
Look.
But the Jagdpanzer 4 backs away. One of those Shreks didn't penetrate. Not a bad rate. Again, they don't really have that great armor. So overall, Jagdpanzer 4, it's not a fantastic unit. Not when you compare it to the Panthers. But it's sort of nice for like a desperation AT. Like if you can't afford a Panzer headquarters, or if the Panther, or if the Panzer headquarters gets sniped. And I think that's the only reason why he went for the Jagdpanzer 4, and really the only reason why you would go for a Jagdpanzer 4, because the Panzer headquarters was sniped, so he couldn't go Panther. Double Panther is, really strong. Nad going through, cancels it, nice dodging.
Another guy,
but not dodging that one, and that's the death smoke.
It's too fast.
Yeah, and also like it prevents retreats. So, you get shredded by the Obers. Yeah, but didn't actually lose that many models. Yeah.
Ends up surviving for the most part here.
So now I'm losing the map.
Yeah, looking at...
Slowly repairing the IS-2.
Yeah, IS-2 is going to get repaired here. There is still a bit of veterancy on the side of Succubus, especially when it comes to these tanks as well. I mean, Vet 4 Panther, Vet 2 Jagdpanzer 4 is actually going to contribute a fair bit to these fights. And, you know, Vet 4 Obersoldaten as well. Rebuilding a Vol squad with a Shrek just to try and contribute a little bit more AT to these fights.
Yeah, and the Jagdpanzer 4s do get nice Vet as well. Because they have 5 Vet going in with a rear armor blitzkrieg Not exactly sure if that's how he was trying to micro that Panther. Gets one shot on the IS-2, and you can't chase it because it's reverse moving with Blitzkrieg. Blitzkrieg making the Panthers very hard to kill. Mortar's not going to be penetrating the Panther.
Probably not. I mean, I have to say, your Mortar's trying very hard. It's still impressive. Taking another shot here. The Machine's still quite far off in terms of fuel for the next IS-2 as well. 150 needs a fair bit more. And
the Panther's just penetrating really, really consistently. Panther 4 moving in as well. He wants to snipe this IS-2.
Wow, this could spell the end of the IS-2 here. The Panther's going to be going in. The Zis is going to be set up though, so that's waiting for the Panther. Another penetration.
Nothing is
The Panther can just keep going. The Panther's going to keep going here. It's cutting down absolutely everything here. Takes another shot. Might actually back away from that Zis here. Should be going in for it, but the AT grenade and another AT grenade. The AT grenades may actually stop the engagement.
Just continuing to fire on the Panther. Shrek's going to be chasing down. Shox with the Shrek.
Shock's running the real marathon. This is the second time they've tried it. They might succeed this time.
Yeah.
Shrek lands again.
It's a shame that those Shocks were already Vet 3 because they would have just got so much vet.
From that.
From Shrekking. We do have another Panzer headquarters put down though. Going to be rebuilding those Obersoldaten. And that's, again, another advantage of sniping the Panzer headquarters. You can't build Obers. And if he was consistently building Obers, then it would have been in a much harder spot because there's more Obers, more death, really, for the Allied infantry.
Would have been a lot harder there, and now Succubus does, of course, have to invest a little bit into getting that Panzer headquarters back.
Vet 5 Obersoldaten.
That's not what you want to see.
Perma sprint, perma uraring, suppressing, killing everything. Not dodging nades though, not going to be dodging grenades.
The death squad, but the death squad drops 2 members there. Going to be dodging those shock nades away, and the conscripts will get a little bit more ground back. IS-2. Thanks to the work of that Zis and those AT grenades, we'll be trying to force off these MGs.
I was looking for the Panther, but it backed away, and I couldn't kill it because of how low the IS-2 was, even just by the damage engine, so I didn't want to try and risk it.
VPs are getting quite low now. It's going to be 100 for Succubus, Victoria, and 221 for the Machine. The Machine's ones are, of course, ticking, though. Yeah, bottom and the left and the right here being captured by Succubus at the moment. The Machine is going to try and hold on to that middle.
And that's when I discovered the Panzer headquarters.
Ah!
Yeah, I didn't know it was there.
Don't want to be there.
Until that engagement, of course. Panzer headquarters are bugging out. They have way more attack range than the reticle would suggest. Still, the Vet 3 mortar is going to be nice against the Panzer headquarters. And the IS-2 as well can kill it pretty easily. I sort of was going to say earlier, but kind of forgot to. Like, my favorite way of killing the Panzer headquarters is you rush a light vehicle, like a T-34. You get the T-34 to sight and start attacking it. Obersoldaten out of the fog of war, instantly destroying the mortar. Not a chance. Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of my fault for not having anything in front of it, scouting. You shouldn't really leave support weapons in the open when the Obersoldaten exist because they will just instantly decrew your support weapons. Losing the Vet 3
got destroyed.
That's a huge deal.
That's a big deal.
Because Vet 0 mortars just miss all the time, but when you get them to Vet 2, they just become so much stronger.
Right, going to be harder to get the Panzer headquarters and deny repairing squads as well with that mortar. Mortar definitely was paying off. And Panda wants Vet 5.
It wants the Vet 5, getting in front of the Zist and the Shreks as well. The penetration in this game has been so inconsistent. Yeah. There's been really good penetration streaks and then really bad penetration streaks.
And there's the Vet 5 on the Panther.
Yeah,
Panther
there we go.
fully vetted, Obersoldaten fully vetted. This is turning into a game.
Yeah, increases their sight range and firing the gun more accuracy on the move. They get extra range at Vet 4, so they basically have the same range as a Jackson or an Su-85. Yeah, Vet 5 Panthers are a big deal, and the Jagdpanzer 4 as well. Like, he has a lot of AT. The amount of AT is pretty scary, and the IS-2 is... It's not really being that efficient, but right now, I'm trying to stall these VPs. Getting the top, getting the bottom. I can't hold them. Not against the Obersoldaten, but I can cap them and I can stall them. So the moment the Obers show up, it's just like, nope, that's fine, bro. You can have this VP. You can have this VP, it's fine.
You didn't want it anyway.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't want that VP. But at the very least, I'm stalling the VPs, and you have to when you're on the back foot here.
Yeah, when you want that... Oh, I'm going to be smoking it as well. So
that's the mortar smoke.
The recruit mortar. That's a nice way to capture VPs when you're desperate as well. Sneak the shocks in.
But the Panther's going for some crush, and I'm pretty sure I hear it. Yeah.
So, a little bit.
Yeah. I defeated it. He would have got some crushes. That would have been bad. And here come the Obers. But the Panther's pretty out of position.
Yeah, Panther is pretty out of position. This is going to get almost decrewed now. It's on one. Vet 1 as well. Does get decrewed there. The Obers instantly killing that one. Another support weapon. Lives have been claimed here. Another shot from the Panther. Going to be chasing down this IS-2. See how deep it decides to go. With the Zis wipe, it's a lot easier to come in.
Yeah. And that's another hard thing about Obers is like they just wipe your Zis guns. Going desperately for that Zis gun though underneath the Sturmpires and the Obers. I do realize that's actually a bad idea going for the Zis gun underneath Sturmpires, so don't bother. NG's got the Shrek. Gets the Zis gun now though because that IS-2's in a world of trouble. Jagdpanzer 4 going for the chase. Some Pioneers wiping the Zis gun once again. I also didn't want him to cap it. I thought he was going to cap it himself.
Does at least deny that one and forces off the Jagdpanzer 4 from going too deep here. The shocks with that Shrek are definitely going to help, and Succubus makes the nice choice of destroying the Zis as well. That's going to be a pretty big manpower investment for the machine when he's trying to save up for the next IS-2.
Yeah, because you do need more than that.
Yeah.
So, again, not feeling good, but here's my second IS-2.
There we go.
So, now my confidence is a little bit restored. With the double IS-2, I can either camp 2 VPs, or I can try and catch these tanks out of position in 2v1. Because I can't really 1v1 the Panther. I can 1v1 a Jagdpanzer 4. Like, they die fast. They don't have a lot of health and a lot of armor.
What's being built out of the Panzer headquarters?
Well, Blake, that's going to be a Sturm Tiger.
Oh, wow.
That's a Sturm Tiger. We have
Bold
a Sturm
move.
Tiger. Yeah, I mean, think about it. What's a Sturm Tiger good for?
Killing things.
The Sturm Tiger is good for one-shotting
Killing
Veteran
Veteran
C3 squads
yeah.
whilst capping a VP.
Yeah.
Especially the first shot.
When you don't know
When you
it
don't
is,
know
yeah.
it's there, and you're like, I'm going to cap this VP smoke grenade to try and conceal the shocks long enough. I'm desperate to stall the VPs, and with the IS-2, it will force away. But that's the Blitzkrieging Panther on the road. Doesn't quite get the block though. The Shrek as well going to be firing onto the rear armor of that Panther. Obers are moving in as well as the MG. The Panther's getting pretty low and the shocks are consistently penetrating with that rear armor. Whereas the second IS-2 down below. Panther backing away. Sturm Pioneers looking for the repairs.
Might actually walk away from this one. Down to 100 points in Succubus. Top one is captured. Second IS-2 going to be moving in. The Jagdpanzer 4 though is going to be firing as well. Not really going to penetrate that much. Panther going to get away from this one probably.
Yeah, the Panther's running for its life. Jagdpanzer 4 turning to engage. It has the rear arm of the IS-2. Very, very important. The Panther is pretty confident with the Vet 5. IS-2 just not hitting. The other IS-2 a little bit too far behind.
Oh no, the Sturm Tiger.
There's the Sturm Tiger. Jagdpanzer doing so much damage. Veteran C2 for the IS-2. The Panther survives this one. One more shot will take it out and get the wipe in the end. And that is the cock block there on that Jagdpanzer 4 IS-2.
Fire here, trying to stop it rotating, gets another shot off though, and gets the IS-2, just secures that one.
There's the Sturm Tiger, wants to fire, it cancels at last minute, it was firing. You can tell because it's firing again. The gun raises.
Yeah, they're looking for the shot on the IS-2. The Jagdpanzer 4's been taken out. This could be the game here. The Panther's down. The Jagdpanzer 4's down. The IS-2 is still alive. The IS-2's going to go for the Dukes. Doesn't want to get shot in the face.
It does have a minimum
range.
Yeah, so you can juke the Sturm Tiger, but you can't stand still. The moment you stand still, you die.
Yeah.
And the Sturm Tigers have a lot of health, so it's hard to actually snipe them. So you just keep moving, it's just firing. Every time it raises its gun, it's gonna fire.
It's gonna fire.
But it cancels.
Keep moving.
So it's really good cancelling. Because if he fires, then it's just like, nope, GG. Because I can just kill it. Obers not gonna be very good against this one. So really I wanted to deny the Obers so I can cap the VP. Again, not a lot of VPs left. Cons moving in for the AT grenade.
Do they get it? Yes, they do. The AT grenade actually lands there. The IS-2 might actually make something happen here. The VPs are still being stalled. 112 now for the machine. The MG has been forced off, but the Panther's down. The Jagdpanzer 4 is down. That's the majority of the AT here for Succubus.
Didn't have the Dushka, can't afford the munitions, so we'll walk away the MG42. Gets it captured. I think I missed this one. Yeah, there was an MG42 that I sniped with cons. Got it, capped it. Now waiting in the garrison for stall tactics. Sturm Pioneer is going to be repairing. Didn't get a chance to fire the Sturm Tiger. And we actually see a Jagdpanzer 4 coming out. So I think that's sort of what I mentioned is the desperation Jagdpanzer 4. Because he doesn't quite have enough fuel. 175 fuel for a Panther. And 135. So it's a bit cheaper. He sort of has enough now. But like there's a long build time. So yeah. Also with the Sturm Tiger he can engage. But now it's really hard to cap points. You can't really cap those VPs with a Sturm Tiger because you just don't know where it's coming. And unless you see it, it'll just one-shot your Vet 3 squads. So that's, I think, what Sturm Tigers are good for, is wiping squads through Fog of War. Because they have more range than Infantry have sight.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of sight themselves, so you're going to have something else sighting for the Sturm Tiger. But if you do, it can be nice. Jagdpanzer 4 moving in doesn't really have any anti-infantry, though.
Oh, the conscripts did juke both of the MGs though, and here comes the I2, going to be moving in. Storm Target's looking for the shot, but that's still inside the minimum range here. Can it get the shot? Gun slipping again. Crew shock on the Jagdpanzer 4. The conscripts are still juking the MGs up the top
I'm
there.
not watching this
hell
gun.
no, you're not.
I'm watching the IS-2.
That's the one you want to keep alive right now.
I don't want to get caught. Vet-Fi Obers, would you like to retreat? Well, too bad. Yeah, he wants to get this IS-2, and I'm just not saying to. You just don't stay still. And now this is a hard spot because he's going to get my base. He can wipe squads. So I just move squads. Just move squads out of my base.
Just get them out of
keep
the
moving.
AoE.
But Jagdpanzer 4, this is really hard because, like, the more I juke the IS-2, the more the Jagdpanzer 4 is firing. So I try and get within minimum range so he can't fire while the shocks move in as well. And the IS-2 is getting a bit low here as well, but so is that Jagdpanzer 4.
And that's the important thing here.
Yeah, he is indeed. Sturm Tiger has a nice angle. The shocks
Oh,
are firing.
it's looking for a shot!
It's firing, it's moving up for it now. There it goes, Sturm Tiger's firing, but the IS-2 jukes it. It does get the main gun on the Jagdpanzer 4.
Oh, he actually kills his own. He's done his own tanking.
Yeah, and now it's gonna have no chance to take out the IS-2 Obers. They still don't have any AT. It's gonna have to retreat those ones. Sturm Tiger, he has to reload, and he can't reload in combat.
Definitely not, though. The IS-2 is going to be chasing that one down. It's going to have the rear armor the whole drive back. The IS-2 is going to be following this one. Macy getting taken out. There's another rear armor hit. It's not going to take much more here. Going to be another one as well. There's just no more AT on the field here. Repeat buffer being built. It's probably not going to be enough. It looks like the Storm Tiger is going to be taken out. It realizes its own doom, runs into trees,
a lot of
and
veterancy. Vet 0 Volks, and they get shredded. The IS-2s will kill those easily until they get those vet bonuses. And now one thing I want to criticize here about Victoria Succubus, he hasn't salvaged this wreck. I think you get 12 fuel for this wreck, and if he had that, he may have been able to go with the Panther instead of the Jagdpanzer 4, which could have won the game for him. So you always got to make sure you salvage, especially when you get a destroyed headquarters, you get a lot of fuel from that too. So it's important as well as the allies is to make sure you destroy those wrecks. I really should have done, like these wrecks here. Just force fire it. Its injuries dodged, unfortunately. Again, I want to get these VPs. I'm pretty desperate because I'm pretty low. Fortunately, the shocks have armor, so the Obers won't wipe them as easily as cons.
They're not going to be quite as bad now. And the IS-2 has free reign now. There's a couple of repeating nerfers on the field. Last-ditch ploy here from Succubus. He really wants to hold on to these VPs and try and win the game through that.
Yeah, Rocket Buffers aren't very good against IS-2s. They don't have very good penetration, not very good range, and they don't have any accuracy reduction like you have from other AT guns. And so the IS-2s wipe them, and even if the main gun doesn't hit, the Dushkas just wipe Rokenwerfers. So it's very desperate. But I mean, I think Vet 0 Rokenwerfers will do better than Vet 0 Volkshrek, especially because you don't need munitions as well. He's gonna try. Getting the VPs back. This one's just been held. It has the MG, and he hasn't really been trying for it, which perhaps he should have done. But yeah, anyway.
Warner's back up to Veterancy 1 here. The shocks are going to be holding this VP here. Looking very good for the machine. MG's going to be taking out those shocks though.
Yeah, that's why it's killing shocks.
Yeah, Vet 5, MG34.
Vet 4 Sturmpires, so yeah. A lot of veterancy.
A lot of veterancy
and
it
does,
it's certainly not over for Succubus yet.
Yeah, it does give them a lot of extra fighting power. Shocks though, going to be pretty good against the Rokenwerfers in the negative cover. He will retreat, no problems at all.
Surprised he used them that aggressively.
Yeah. The IS-2 was low, nothing repaired.
Yeah.
Veterancy 2 is really nice. Just gives you extra accuracy, which makes a pretty big difference against those infantry targets. There's two MGs, so he's overlapping, so you can't really get those. So that's nice play, overlapping those MGs. Gets the smoke grenade, but Obersoldaten will force the retreat. So this middle VP is going to be pretty desperate because I can't really get this top VP when he has two MGs.
Yeah, the MGs are going to have too much suppression up there.
So at this stage, conscripts have no purpose. Like Vet 0 shocks are worthless in this matchup. All you can really do is get shocks, but shocks are quite nice because they have armor, so they're really strong, and they have a lot of close range damage. So you can deal with those vetted Obersoldaten if you get a nice ambush. And the smoke grenades gives them good gap closing potential, also against MGs. So shocks are really nice in the late game. They don't need veterancy, not like say conscripts or penals or Volksgrenadiers, which do really need that veterancy in the late game. There's Dushka, finally.
Yeah, finally the Dushka's up on there. The munitions investment can come through from the machine. Shock's going to be going for the middle here as well, but up against you know, the Oversoldaten, it's not an easy feat. Don't throw down the smoke there to try and defend off the MG34, and we'll at least get the neutralize, I think.
That's what I wanted, the neutralize. And the nade, I mean, it's worth trying. And so the other thing I could have done as well, rather than the shocks, I got 3 shocks, is I could have gone snipers. But the problem with like really, really late game is when you're versing Vet 5 Obers that permanently sprint, they can just sprint up to your snipers and insta-kill them with a single burst. So it's just too hard to keep them alive. I wouldn't really bother going for snipers when you're versing like Vet 5 Obers.
Yeah, so the boss are going to go down here, and the repeating method's going to be firing though. Do stop the cap at least, but that's a pack 43.
That's a pack 43, and that's behind a garrison.
Because you can do that.
Because they fire through garrisons. Yeah. They're pretty strong, especially against the IS-2.
And that, you're not expecting that, are you?
Nope.
You know it's there at all. It's hidden from you.
I do not know that there is a pack 43, and it will actually deny the middle field because I can't use the IS-2 near that pack 43. Playing a risky game though.
What? Overs are quite low, but the IS-2 does back away, so the pack hasn't revealed itself yet, so it's going to have to be the top and the bottom here for the machine. 41 VPs for Succubus, 79 for the machine, but he is holding 2 at the moment, so those 40 VPs are ticking now.
So I had to use the IS-2 to force away the MGs at the top, whilst the shocks then went in afterwards, getting outside of the firing arc just barely.
That was very close.
Yeah, here come the MGs, but so just the IS-2 rotations are pretty important. I think really though, he probably should have gone for the bottom VP, because as long as you have like Oversoldaten, you can generally just insta-snipe the gunner and just decrew the MG. But if you are able to get the suppression in time, then it can be okay. But yeah, the Soviet support weapons, they can die frontal onto Obers just because of how strong their MG accuracy is. And the thing is as well with the support weapons, like it's for all factions, is because the gunner is like in front of the rest. That's not actually a very good example, but normally the gunner is quite far ahead
of the rest of the squad.
Yeah, and so it means that a lot of times the units only fire at the front gunner. Pack 43 is firing. IS-2 not going to be very happy about that one, backing away. Here comes a lot of stuff, and hey, Brandon, I'm fine. This VP's mine. Just kidding, it's not my VP. Oh no, get away from that one. Yeah.
Shots started run. They can't see anything, but it is down to 20 VPs now for Succubus. He has to make something happen. Has to go maybe for the bottom. That'd be the best move for him. Yeah. And that smoke is just, you know, delaying more than anything else. It's a delay tactic.
Yeah, so now I'm a little bit scared because I see this rotation coming and I'm like, see what I mean? Obers walk up to the MG.
Just
they kill the MG head on. They get the suppression, they die. So, yeah, support weapons don't really work against Obers. And I'm like, well, I can lose this game now. I can't stall for an IS-2, but I can call in a KV-8.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a big deal. Yeah, didn't have enough time with the IS-2 here, so call in the KV-8, and that can deal with individual squads of Oversoldaten, and I'll tell you that much.
KV-8's got that nerfed hard, but they're still really, really good against infantry. They actually do have more damage against infantry, and a lot more consistent damage. They don't miss. Yeah, there you go. Insta-snipe, burning your Oversoldaten down, chasing them all the way back to base. Yeah, KV-8s are good. They're good, but they're hard to use because they don't have any AT. Pack 43, well, that's going to force that one away.
Hopefully nothing dying here. We'll have to juke the Pack 43's arc. Main gun destroyed.
Whoopsie daisies.
Whoopsie machine.
Yeah. Now, to be honest, like, the main reason I did that, because I have this game.
Yeah.
You know, I got the game.
You got 9
I wanted to see how much that does against buildings, and they do a lot. Like, KV-8s, they actually do a lot of damage against the OKW headquarters. And they come in, I believe it's 9 command points. I think it's 9 command points.
Yeah.
And that's generally at a time where your opponent won't actually have Panthers. So you can just rush them and kill their headquarters. And so, yeah, again, this game is mine. The KV-8 can still push. He can push the Obers. It's fine, don't worry. Push the Obers. Not a problem. But that is game over. Yeah, I got the top one, IS-2, GG.
Gonna be the call here. That was a pretty good game, man.
Yeah, that was a good game.
I enjoyed that.
And the IS-2 was so close to dying so many times, and it was hard to win that late game against OKW. I think really, Succubus, he probably could have won the game. I think he got a bit cocky. The Sturm Tiger, Like, yeah, it's great against infantry for wiping those squads and support weapons. Like, if you try and go mortars and Zis guns, just Sturmtiger wipes them. I think he thought he had enough AT. He's like, I got my Vet 5 Panther, I've got my Jagdpanzer 4, I don't need more AT. I have enough AT.
And that's a pretty fair point.
Yeah, let's go for a Sturmtiger.
Yeah.
But I think he didn't quite factor in the shock squad with the Shrek.
Yeah.
That shock squad with the Shrek,
Did a lot.
that made the difference.
Yeah.
That just did so much damage. And so if that was a second Panther, then 2 Panthers and a Jagdpanzer 4, I don't think I could have won that game. They would have just lost the IS-2. But at the same time, the Zis guns would have been more viable with no Sturmtiger. But with the Vet 5 Obers, Zis guns don't work. Yeah, because you can have an IS-2 and a Panther engagement, and then the Obers can perma-sprint with their Vet 5 up to the Zis, instantly wipe the Zis, and perma-sprint away. So it's hard to use Zis guns against Obers in the late game. Also the Jagdpanzer 4 even, like, I think he probably just should have maybe just gone for another Panther, and even a King Tiger, like, if he wanted to, like the Sturmtiger, he could have gone for a Jagdtiger. Yeah. And Jagdtigers are good at just camping on a VP.
You mean King Tigers?
Sorry, King Tiger.
Yeah.
They're good against infantry, and they're good against tanks. They're not very mobile, they're pretty slow, but you just put on a VP. So I think that could have been it, but he actually did play pretty well.
He did, yeah. It was a close
actually
game.
A fun game. So that's a bit of a look. And I was going to say earlier, I kept forgetting though, there was a pretty high action game. My play style is deny the Panzer headquarters, because if you don't, you will either lose to Obers or you will either lose to a Panzer 4, Panzer 2. It's like one of the two. And so what I generally do is I go double Zis, and at 9 command points, I go a Sherman. Sherman scouts the Panzer headquarters, Zis gun snipe it. Or if you're ahead, you can get a T-34 76 and do that. Even T-70s, because of the sight range, when you pop the ability of the sight, they're really good against infantry because, like, they don't have Shreks or False or anything.
So it's pretty good defense against...
Yeah, so T-70s are really nice. They also can wipe squads very well. And then you have sight range for the Zis guns, or even, again, just the Sherman 9 command points. Because 9 command points, as I mentioned earlier with the caveat, is also generally at a point where there won't be a Panther. And there sure as hell won't be a King Tiger, but there won't be a Panther. Yeah. And so it gives you a lot of free reign. Whereas if there is a Panther, then it's hard to use those medium vehicles. If you're versing Panthers, in my experience, you need IS-2s. Because Sherman and T-34s, they just don't work against Panthers.
Definitely not.
Yeah, so IS-2s is what I go if I'm playing for late game. If I think I'm not ahead, I don't have 80% of the map, I can't close this game in the mid game, I can't snipe the Panzer headquarters, I have to go IS-2. That's generally my play style. So, yeah, that's it. IS-2s, you can't win late game without them.
The machine story.
Yeah, and now that IS-Us are pretty worthless, you need IS-2s. So it's a shame that, you spam IS-2s every game, but, like, yeah, what choices are there? So that's a fun game. Hopefully I wasn't too fanboy allies biased.
You weren't too bad.
Yeah.
I mean, considering it's normally like he reeled it
biased.
in. He reeled it in. So, congrats to you for reeling it in.
What
machine.
do you mean?
You're normally worse than that. So you reeled in the allied fanboy quite hard. So it was good.
Yeah.
Very enjoyable.
All right, cool. Well, that'll wrap this game up. Thanks for watching. See you next time.